Hide work is really therapeutic and healing. When you're going through the motions, you're connecting things together, and once you get the groove, your thoughts kind of bring you to different places. It's like giving birth, I guess. It's like, wow, this is my baby.
Zon, welcome back to the Native Movement podcast. Giaga, that's what we call our half-dried salmon. And we are here in Chena, Alaska, also known as Fairbanks, in the lower Tanna Dene region. It is -20. We just came back inside from working on hides.
We're at the Urban Hide Camp in downtown Fairbanks, Alaska. I'm Kathleen Hildebrand Meckel. Welcome to my yard. What we're doing right now is we're frost scraping the hide to get the membrane off. It's thinned out right here. It's thicker here. We're using these awesome tools. Tom Huntington made this particular tool. It's a really good frost scraper, and it can also be for dry scraping in the summer as well. When you're using these tools, you have to keep sharpening them to make sure you have a good blade. Otherwise, you're just going to be working for nothing. It's kind of a chilly day, but as you can see, I had to take my earmuffs off because you get warm and you start sweating. So it's a good workout, and you breathe in sync with what you're doing. Hide work is really therapeutic and healing. When you're going through the motions, you're connecting things together, and once you get the groove, your thoughts kind of bring you to different places where you can think about the moose and its journey, think about the hunter who gifted this to me, think about the people who work on it and how far they've come. So a lot of thoughts run through your mind when you're working on moose hides.
I'm so honored and privileged to introduce Kathleen Hildebrand, longtime mentor of mine since 7th grade, and now in a new teaching role with the hides.
Hey, I'm Kathleen Hildebrand Meckel. I was born and raised in the village of Nulato, Alaska, on the Yukon River. And I'm the first of 7 children. I was fortunate enough to be raised by my mom and my grandmas and my grandpas. So I've had a really good life on the Yukon. When you're raised in the village, like that small village with your grandmas and great-grandmas all around, you get a lot of mentorship, and at the time you don't know it, but you're learning a lot about your place and the environment, the animals, the plants, how we're connected to all of it. And with each grandma, I can remember something specific relating to hide work, sewing, and then to plants as well, because everything, the seasons kind of flowed. And my grandma Rita, my mom's mom, was the most influential with me, because when I was in middle school, I think I was challenging. So to rein me in, I had to tan a lot of beaver hides one year, and it was pretty cool because she was kind of like a woman before her time. My grandma Rita, she said, we'll try Tide soap today, like dry Tide. So we'd mix it up so there's a paste, and then I'm rubbing it on the beaver skin, and then I'm asking her, well, what else can we try, Grandma? Can we do this? Can we do that? And we even tried tanning with bacon grease. I know, because I heard about it. So we got all this bacon grease, and it had that grimy meat stuff, rubbing it on the stuff. And it took forever to wash out, because I think we had Joy dish soap to wash it out then.
Science experiments every day.
Yep, with Grandma Rita. And then another time she said you could use sourdough starter. So we took the sourdough, added the water and the flour, and then put it on the hide and rolled it up overnight and worked on it the next day. So that was my grandma. She was always willing to try something new. And Grandpa Gerald was a trapper, so there was an abundance of fur. And then she was making for us, there was 7 of us, like I said, plus all my cousins as well, from her daughters, and Grandma would make us fur hats, mittens, mucklucks. She trimmed our little parkas with fur, so we always wore fur. And if you're going to wear it, it's easier to tan it before you sew with it. So.
And for context, this is in the village, no electricity, no running water. You are still living on the land. So you had to do this. You weren't able to order clothes. You weren't able to just have anything made for you.
Right.
You all had to learn how to take care of your outfits. You had to learn how to take care of your food.
Yes, we couldn't run over to REI to get new boots because the kids outgrew them. So Grandma would make us, everything, socks, new boots, new gloves. And we did have to take care of them. And when you played outside, we played hard because we would just explore in the woods, go walk for miles on the river, go, play in the woods on snowshoes, go ice skating. So, yeah, we were hard on our gear, but yeah, we had to take care of it. And if anything got wet, we'd have to roll it in snow before hanging it up inside to dry.
People had it figured out.
They did. Well, and even for my grandma to think of all of those different things. And then when we were in school, well, my grandma was raised in the time where she was one of the last people where she was like, when she became a woman, she was kind of put away for a while. And she said it was not for a few years or a year. She said it was short, probably weeks. And during that time, she had aunties come to teach her. And that was the cool thing, like my great aunts, when we were in high school, they were the ones that would teach us. So in the school, when Johnson O'Malley first came out, I think a lot of money came in the 1970s, the whole oil thing. So the schools had money then, so they were trying to incorporate like sewing, native language, and things like that then. So, but the women in the village also had a women's club where they sewed, they had their own log cabin. Twice a week they used to go there to have sewing sessions. And being the first granddaughter on both sides, I was fortunate enough to be able to get in with my grandmas to watch and to see what they were doing. And man, the big reveal on new designs or new things made out of fur and moose hide would be around Christmas.
This time of the year.
Yes.
Ooh.
When they made everything for all their grandkids and their kids. And I remember my Aunt Ellen Peter had this cool design. She made ankle mucklucks. Instead of wraparound moose hide to tie them, laces, she had a cute little zipper in the back.
Whoa.
Innovative and creative.
Ahead of her time.
Exactly. So I remember that being an unveiling. And it was so cool because everybody would look at each other's work, look at the stitches. And, when you're looking, you could feel I could just feel it in my hands, the fur or the hide, how it was really like some were soft and others were like stiff. So I knew just from looking at people's stuff and feeling it, what I wanted my furs or my hides to feel like, to be soft. And later, once I started sewing, the softer the hide, the easier it is for the needle to go through. So, and it takes time.
Yeah, and how you were really young too when you started learning how to sew, and that's such a strength you have as a hide worker and a sewer, is the whole journey and what it requires from the hide work to go into the sewing. And
yeah. Well, I'm not even sure what age you are, but when you're growing up without modern conveniences or being able to run to a store to get something new, you had to take care of your stuff, and everybody had a little personal sewing kit. Men, women, kids. We all had our own sewing kits, and they were loaded when they were gifted to us. Either we inherited one from somebody or it was gifted to us. They were loaded with like thread, needles, and they were precious. Because I remember my great-grandma was a little girl, and I went in to visit her, and she said, "Coy, my needle fell down." And it was really dark in the cabin. The only light I could remember as a little girl was from the wood stove, the little damper.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like an orange light, and I'm like, Grandma, where did you drop your needle? Thinking, where is it? She said, over here, and she's feeling on the floor. And I started feeling around for her, and thankfully I found it, and it was like, holy cow. So, yeah.
Situation.
Yes, I mean, you cannot lose that needle. It's the only one you have. So it was kind of cool to do that. But even, I remember my grandma when she was sewing, she would take now we have imitation sinew, but she took the real sinew, like from caribou, and she was rolling it in her hands. And then after a while, she started rolling it on her cheek. And I asked her, why are you rolling it on your cheek, Grandma? She said, there's oils on my face. It'll make the thread stronger. And she would stretch it while she was doing that, like just pull it. And it was so cool, like, wow.
Everything was so intentional.
Exactly.
And it's so wild how not only the land provides everything, but our body from the land, not like the oils from your face and doing all of that. And you were so blessed at that generation to grow up with the full cultural education that, each generation we're trying to return to. And then you were in the transition period where then you went for your Western education. You were a first gen college graduate. And the other fun thing about your family is you have so many educators. So now that you're telling that Grandma Rita story, I'm like, wow, a family full of researchers and teachers. Oh, God, so how was that journey with your upbringing? Well,
my grandma learned how to read from, there was a nurse when the Army Corps of Engineers were in Nulato. They were putting in the telegraph wires, and they stopped there, so they had a temporary hospital for their employees. And there was a nurse living there who wanted my grandma to be her assistant because Grandma was like a midwife, and she knew stuff about plants, how medicinal qualities. So, because Grandma didn't know how to read or write, the nurse gave her a medical dictionary to learn how to read from, and just gave her, like how to say a couple words. So that's what she learned how to read from.
Wow.
So she knew from that experience education was important. And then after my dad died, my Grandpa Eddie always told us, he stepped in, I was 8 years old, and he stepped in to be the male figure for my brothers and for the rest of us. And he kept telling us we needed an education, that things were changing fast. And in his lifetime, he'd seen a lot of change. And he kept telling us we're going to see more. And one summer we were on I was fishing with my brothers, commercial fishing, and we were sitting on the bank of the Yukon River, and Grandpa was with us. We were eating lunch, and we were watching all of these boats zoom up and down on the Yukon River. There were so many for the Yukon River, like 5 in an hour. That was a lot. So, and I asked Grandpa, what's going on? How come they're just like in a hurry? Because they're going really fast, and that big arc of water behind, how it's high when they go fast. It looked like that. And Grandpa said, yeah, they're just moving. They're fish egg buyers. They're stopping at the camps, and they're buying fish eggs. And at that time, there were Japanese fish egg buyers in Nulato and Caltech and Galena. So really, people were fishing to make money and selling the eggs, the salmon roe. And he said, with what we're doing, we're not going to see fishing like this ever again. And at that time, I didn't, like stop and think, oh my God, we should stop this. I thought, man, that's going to be hard. But it didn't register. And then, like today, to be where I'm at, to see, okay, yeah, Grandpa was really smart. We needed our education. We had to go and get a college degree, and he knew these things were going to happen. So it was just good to have such strong leaders and mentorship in my life to, I don't know, I guess teaching me to trust my instincts and to trust who I am. the decisions I make. Think about it. Don't go into it rash.
The elders could see so far into the future because of the patterns and being so educated on the land and being so wise at their age. And it is hearing the stories that even me when I was told young and seeing it unfold, because my grandparents, I forgot who, had told me growing up that they heard stories about how Alaska is going to get warm and the rest of the world's going to get cold. And I couldn't even comprehend that it was possible. And now there's snowstorms in the lower 48, and then we have these extremely warm winters. That's impacted our hide work when it's rained, and it tore our hides, and we had to put them away. So, yeah, the elders of our region.
The elders were pretty smart. Yeah. Well, and they kind of knew, and I think it was before even the Alaska Native Settlement Claims Act. They knew things were changing. They knew they were not going to be stewards of the land, that we would have to fight on a whole different level. So I think they were pretty smart in preparing us for this. And even encouraging us and preparing us to live in this Western world, yet at the same time taking us fishing and taking us out hunting. Well, they didn't say hunting. They just said we're going to go camping, and it was in the fall time when, you know, you'd look around. Taking us out and still exposing us to that way, and to be quiet and to be aware and to just listen and watch, because there's so much nature has to offer us. When you know, like, I remember being out in the fall thinking, man, what's wrong with all these birds? Their feathers all over. And, you know, Grandpa explained that all the nesting birds were starting to molt. I'm like, well, what's molting? And he explained, well, yeah, their feathers are starting to come into when they're going to start flying away. And just to watch how they moved, you know, like how their wings would come out and they kind of like almost glide across the water. That was amazing to see. And then just even to be in Caillou, our traditional homelands, you know, the place where we came from, basically, all the renewal of life that happened there, it's so powerful. Even in the looking at it seasonally, in the summer when you're working at salmon, you're kind of out of Caillou, but because that's when the birds are doing their thing, they're having their babies, they're growing. Then when they're out of the eggs, kind of, then the salmon berries are ready. So you're done cutting salmon, your smokehouse is full, you load up your whole family load up in the boat, and you go into Caillou, and it's like a twisty, windy slough to get to the mountains, and you go there to pick salmon berries. And you see all these birds, they're all over, and you know, your boat comes around a corner and then all of a sudden the sky will be filled with different ducks and geese and the swans, the sounds of it. And it's just like you catch your breath, like, and you hear it and see it, and you just feel like you're in a magic space. Everything that was bothering you in the village, it's nothing. You're like on holy land where you get cleansed with, just immersed in nature on so many levels. Then when you go out into where the berries are, and you look and you just see all different shades of orange for what seems to be miles of salmon berries. And when you get there just in time before they're too soft, man, to start picking at the plunks in your buckets. Yeah.
And Caillou is the place that was the people of Nulato's creation story, where they started. And you were also talking about how our ancestors knew why it was critical that we know ourselves and our culture. And we've had a lot of conversations on this about our people's health. At the end of the day, how well they know the land, how well they know themselves, and their longer history, their ancestral history. do you see this impact their physical well-being, their your emotional well-being, your spirituality, being strong in who you are, and whatever pathway our people choose, you can see how well they thrive in it. And with a lot of extraction coming onto Yukon River and then the loss of our salmon, to a lot of the leaders in these positions that choose to take on risky projects that aren't healthy or not even really financially feasible, they're not as connected to land because we all know each other so well, and we're like, oh, well, they were raised out of the village, and you can see how that impacts their decision. And so it's so interesting in knowing all of that. And, now that we're really doing well or we've like transitioned and we've learned to live in the Western way, and we still try to go back home. And even with the loss of salmon, our people will go to other regions to get salmon and take care of ourselves. And we're becoming more knowledgeable on these outsiders coming into our homelands and proposing these projects. And at my age, from what I knew as a kid to now, what's happening is these aren't financially feasible. And I was really privileged to connect to people in Non-Dalton and learning about the Pebble Mine. And they're like, you can't move the resources out of the region. It's too expensive. If it pours anywhere, it's going to cost us more. And so I just wanted to really uplift that, because both of our villages have outside companies, or even with our regional corporation, trying to come into where our creation stories are, and just really highlighting to our own people, like, what are you giving up everything for? And are you even getting enough wealth, what these proposals are for your lifetime? Like, are you even thinking generationally? Is your land health, your physical, being sick, being able to provide for yourself, whatever mess they make, are you willing to clean it up? You have to clean it up because you can't depend. And so just thinking about that as we're tying in all of this.
Wow. Yeah, I just, there was a mine on the other side of the mountains from Caillou, the Illinois Creek mine, and a lot of people went and worked there. But I guess that mine shut down, and now on the other side of the mountains, they expect that there's more in the earth to be extracted, and it's basically in the Caillou Hills. And for the Nulato and Caltech people, it's our place of origin. It's our, the creation stories of how we came to be on the earth as human beings started there. And those mountains, really, they are so, I don't even want to say sacred, because sacred is such a small word for that. The meaning is like in you. The people started there, and for their well-being, moved, but then ended up in set villages because of colonization. The churches coming in and setting up schools, forcing the people to stay in one place, made the village of Nulato, made the village of Caltech. Whereas before that, the people always annually went back into Caillou. They rotated through Caillou on an annual basis. And like you said, for your well-being, your health. My grandpa Gerald he would go to Caillou, and he would winter out there, and he would trap, and he would be his healthiest self on the land. My mom's dad died when she was 2 years old, and when my grandma married Gerald, my mom was 13, and she said at 13 she was so happy because he was such a good provider, and he would bring them to Caillou. And her most cherished memories were of being on the land in Caillou. She felt whole. She was never hungry. The land provided everything they needed. And for the people to think about just selling their native allotments that, basically the Dawes Act was set up so Native people wouldn't own land, but for us to have had it for that long, and for the thought of them possibly selling it for almost nothing so outsiders could come in and set up their mines that are extremely toxic. When we look at the history of mining in this state, there's so much mining garbage all over. You go to Nome, you see the mining garbage all over. And those are the things that you can see on the surface. What about the chemical things, the liquid that's not visible to the eye, that just gets buried and left in the soil, and that gets into our drinking water? It gets into the plants that the animals we eat consume. And it's just not... It's not a healthy choice, in my opinion. And even when these mines say they're going to come in and do their mining in a good way, I don't even think there's a single mine on this planet that's being done in a good way, When you're extracting something for wealth of a few people, it's ridiculous. And for the indigenous people, if they gave that up and a mine is in there, and if they sell their native allotment, gone are the homelands. Gone, is our most sacred of places. And then access. If they put in a runway, anybody will have access to that runway once that mine is gone. And it won't be the native people. How many native people do you know of out there with airplanes that can go out there and fly? Not a single one. I mean, you're very lucky if you can even afford a boat. So,
even this year, we talked to so many families from up and down the Yukon River in our region, and how many didn't get moose, and how many outsiders they saw with racks on their boat, and the boat wasn't even going in the water, meaning when one moose can make a boat go down so far, how do you have 5 racks and it's not even weighing the moose down? And bringing it back to the moose too, and you brought the whole cycle of what happens when toxic things enter it, but also I really love the analogy, or it's not even an analogy, but the actual story of how we're so tied to the moose, and thinking about Caillou Mountains and the moose that roam in the way that we used to, and the way that we used to follow the animals. And it's in our blood because our people, our ancestors are throughout all of these lands, and we used to have, how would we do our traditional burials, and the story of that?
Yeah. Well, because our people were nomadic, wherever they were going, there would be accidents, and there would be babies that wouldn't live beyond 5 years old. And prior to contact, some of the babies, the bodies would be wrapped in bark, like spruce bark, or even birch bark. They'd roll them up and leave them on the land. And over time, that would, go into the land, and then new life would come through plants. Then the moose are coming along, they're wandering, they're eating the new plants, getting fed. Then the hunter, when it's time to go hunting, and they need their food, they get that moose. And so the energy connection is forever, as long as you're eating that moose that's out there where your family has lived for generations, from the beginning of time, the cycle continues. And when we are not getting that type of nourishment, the reconnecting with our ancestors, huge parts of us get broken, huge parts of us never heal fully. And we really need to work at keeping that connection going. Look at how hard it is for salmon. And when you're eating a cow compared to a moose, it's not even the same. And even the way we harvest the animal in a respectful way, and like we were talking earlier, eating the hoofs for all of the collagen to take care of our bodies, and the liver so that women could be stronger in our changes that happen. It's a huge part of who we are. I mean, I don't even know how we could separate it.
We have our traditional Dene or Athabascan values, and the top one is hard work. That was, and being able to take care of yourself and being able to take care of your community. And when we give up parts of that, which is harvesting the moose, how hard it is to go out on the land, be out there all day, it's starting to get cold, it's dark, you have to process this 800, 1,000 pound animal. And then we were able to go with your brother, and how many hours, how many days we had to help him because he wasn't able to get enough help from the community. And when we work on the hide, it's really interesting thinking about that spiritual connection, how the moose is still with the hide till the final smoke, and then also knowing all the ancestors it carries, theirs and ours. And tanning hides reveals a person so quickly, and all of our traditional practices, they're all so challenging. It's very hard to learn. It takes a really long time. Now too, because we're in capitalism, you have to invest a lot of money to buy certain things unless you have the time and to learn how to make everything traditionally. And then you just, there's parts of the process where you can't stop, such as softening when you're jumping ahead to softening. You know, you got the brain in there and you have to process the brain, and then you let it soak, and then you have to get all of that water out for it to be soft, or it's going to be hard. And there was one hide this summer, shout out Selena, I'm thinking about you for her hide, 8-hour days, 4 days, like not back to back, but in a week. And because you just can't, there's no way to stop. And so, you know, we've offered so many people to learn and teach, and everyone has their reasons why they're not able to stay. They have a job, they have kids, and that all makes sense. But also we can tell when someone's not spiritually connected to it, or they just don't have the mental strength or the physical strength. Like you have to build up to it. And even as we move through the seasons, and now we're starting frost scraping again, and it's like, oh, warming up my body to be able to move all the snow and then to move the frame. And so that's the really powerful thing about our traditional practices. It's all tied, because now I can go to the gym and I can get strong, and then that's one thing. But it's not like the spiritual practice, and it doesn't reveal, and it's not like making me think ancestrally and also thinking about the generations forward. And so it's so important for our people to work hard. It's ingrained in who we are. And so when you don't want to do your practices, or then you're trying to sell your land for a few things and not enduring what it took to survive in the Arctic, it's like you're really losing so much more of yourself than you can ever imagine. Like, it is so ingrained in us to wake up early, work all day, take care of everyone, be out, and problem solve too, like on the fly. Especially if you're out in the village, you still can't just ship anything. If you're out on the land, if you're out looking or fishing, if your boat break down, you got to think of something right then and there. Or
Yes. Have somebody fly and drop it on you.
So you went through your cultural education, you went to school, you taught for years and years. But I really liked if you'd share a little bit about when you first were being taught at Vashreiko, right? That was like your first being brought into the hide work, and even your mentors then knew you'd be in it long term, but it took years before you could fully commit.
Oh, it was in the 1980s with the Interior Native Educators group. We had these camps where the teachers in this association would decide which region we were going to go to in the interior. And the camp that I went to was out of Arctic Village on the East Fork of the Chandeleur River at Tremble Gilbert's camp. And the focus was going to be on caribou. And once we got there, it was going to be intensive 10 days. at the camp. We had to set up camp. It was not set up in the, little tiny, dig a big hole for the outhouse. Literally work to set up this camp, pitch our own tents, and nobody was going to come and save us or help us. Yeah. So whatever we brought to eat, that was it, unless you went out and fished or hunted to get more food. So we were out there, and I was so fortunate I was partnered with Karen, another educator, so shout out to Karen. And our mentors were Maggie Roberts and Margaret Tritt, and they were teaching us how to take care of the caribou hide and how to make tools, everything. And they were so patient with us, so much laughter, so that every step felt like it was fun. And even when you made a mistake, it was easy, gentle to correct my form or what I was doing, because it was wet scraping caribou hides. And we had to make our own tools, and even to learn how to sharpen a bone tool to do it correctly. And to use the pond water, because it was in May, so there was a lot of snow and the permafrost was melting while we were there, so there was ice on the pond. Going out to look for logs long enough to submerge the hide. And these women sharing, this is the tool my husband made, or this is the tool I made for myself, and showing how they used it. And the tools were amazing, because for the fleshers, they had big burls that were super heavy, and they had a strap that went around your arm.
What?
So you'd hold a handle and just lift the tool, and the weight of the burl would come. So it wasn't like this motion we do.
Yeah.
It was a lift and a drop, a lift and a drop. So how this part of our arms hurt right now, that didn't happen with their tools. And they were super heavy. Like, wow.
You're getting strong.
Yeah, it's like a dumbbell, like, ooh, wow. So that was different. And even we had to get our own logs and peel our logs for the scraping. And we didn't use chainsaws. We were using axes, because there were not everybody had a chainsaw. So it was kind of cool just to go through and figure it all out. And at the end, we didn't smoke them. We had these beautiful white caribou hides. And we shared with everybody else in the camp. And it was so amazing just to go through that in such a kind way, and for us to have two mentors. And I, later on to find out that Maggie was like a master hide worker, tanner in that area for years and years and years. So I feel so fortunate. And it's same with Margaret. And Margaret, she would come to Fairbanks, and I would work with her. She used to come to my class and volunteer and do things with my students in Fairbanks. But when I came back, I went through the motions of writing the curriculum of how to do these things with the other teachers, so that the goal, that what the elders wanted was this knowledge to be preserved in lessons, so when teachers came to their communities, they could teach them how to do these things. Because we did the hide tanning, making dog carry packs out of like partially tanned caribou hides.
You don't see those anymore.
No, so we learned how to do that, and we made dry meat bags with the hide, also tools with the bones, and then we made toys with the bones in the hoof and the hoof itself. They had different uses for how you could mask your movement in a caribou herd by putting a caribou skin over you and moving with the hooves, just shaking it. Like, it was I could envision myself crawling around on the ground doing all these things with everything we made. It was amazing. And just those kinds of lessons, I'm so fortunate you know. And really, after doing the lessons, I just went right back into my job, being a teacher. There was, I didn't have caribou hide, so I didn't do any hide tanning. I did other things instead. So,
and your mentors, they gifted you tools.
yes, the tools. So
Because they knew you would return to it.
yes, oh yes, I got a little caribou legs flesher and a caribou scraper and a caribou antler awl, because they also showed us how to make snowshoes and how you use a hand awl to make the holes in the snowshoes and use sinew to thread. So they gifted, and Maggie, she would laugh and she'd say, I know you're going to do this. So
Yeah.
so I'm really, and it's funny because so many years later when I was teaching one of my former students from Venati, he was one of my second grade students at Denali. He worked with Maggie and he became a hide tanner, and he's an excellent hide tanner. So, and I don't know where he's at now, so I could see it. So, and to even now to have caribou hides to work on along with the moose hides, I'm so grateful to those women and their mentorship, their love and the encouragement. And I just remember their smiles on their face every day. I don't even think there was a bad day out of that 10 days.
Such a just perfect.
It was perfect because you wake up and there's the Brooks Range. You feel the wind. We just got super dark because the sun was staying up longer.
Oh, and you're so far north.
And even when we caught fish right there with our little tin can fishing things, it was connected. It was
the
connected.
way life's supposed to be.
Exactly. And even having one outhouse wasn't even a thing. Not even having a bath for 10 days wasn't even a thing. It was, oh God, yeah.
Because you're eating good, you're living good.
Yeah.
It would be good, help explain to those who don't know the hide process from when you get the hide to the final smoke.
Okay. So when you get the hide, and you need to have a relationship with the hunter. So it's even before that, developing a relationship with your hunter. And I'm grateful to Julia and Charlie out in Enana for the relationship, that I've had with them for their hunting and the hides. You want a hide that comes where the hunter took their time in skinning it. Because when they take their time, there are less slash marks on the hide, and the hide will have a layer of meat, so when you flesh it, it'll flesh easier. Or they can punch it out, which I've gotten caribou hides from Arctic Village that were punched out with no holes except for the bullet hole. And so that relationship with the hunters is very important. And when you get the hide, it's a beautiful gift to receive a hide. It's when it's fresh. We get this hide, it's super heavy. You try lifting it up by yourself. Sometimes you could do it, sometimes not.
No, especially how old the moose is.
Oh yeah, those big bulls, stay away from those big guys. Let them go out and keep making little baby moose.
They're stubborn.
Oh God, yeah, those ones are stubborn. But you get the hide over a beam so high, lift it over, meat side up, and then you just start fleshing on it. And sometimes when it could be Brittany and I, and then other people will come and join us. Sometimes we'll have, once I think we had 4 fleshing posts. And it's a community of hide workers, and everybody is just working. You'll hear laughter, you'll hear encouragement. Some people will say, am I doing this right? And you look, and it's like, yeah, good job. You keep doing it. Or some people would say, I don't think I'm doing it right. And you look, and it's like, yeah, you are. So,
and that stage you can talk more because you're all right there. And it's really fast too if the hunter leaves the meat on. So you go through that, and then you flip it over, and there's a few different ways you can get the hair off.
Yes. Oh, if the meat is on, you can grab the meat and pull it while you're whacking down with the bone. I should have brought the bone tool for you to see. Sorry, I didn't. But then that's why it's easier if the meat is on. Yes. And then when we do flip it, you could work on it on the beam, but I found that it's easier to lay it flat and to pull it, so because it'll kind of stick because it's not dry yet. And use a really sharp curved knife. It could be a mehendini or an ulu, to just cut. You kind of just like shave. The knife is at an angle, and you shave the hair off and brush it away. And you don't want to put any holes in there, because this, on the hair side, that's where the hole will go all the way through into the hide. And one little nick, it can start out really tiny, and when you're finished with the hide, it could be a big hole. So you want to be really careful. But it's kind of, the more you do it, the easier it is, and you develop your own rhythm with the hide. It's like, I say, oh, you're going to fall into the hide. And when you practice it, when you fall into the hide, it's like you just know what to do. The way the hair grows out in a direction, you know, that's the best way to use your knife on it. It starts revealing its story, its life story, when the hair comes off. On the legs, you might see these scar marks, and you know, oh man, this thing had wolves on it at one point in time. Or even on the back, you'll see bigger scars. Yeah, you'll know, oh, a big animal tried to take it down and eat it. What a survivor this is.
And then the amazing, we've seen it multiple times now where they have fresh cuts or wounds, and then they put pitch. They rub against pitch, and so you see that it's healing itself. And even though it's you have to be gentle and careful process, the hair is so thick.
Oh, yes.
Especially in the fall, and they get into dirt, they're in the rivers. And so whenever we're teaching people, like, just start high and then go low as you're comfortable. And the whole world doesn't exist. Like, even you're able to talk a little as you're working. And then, but everything is just right here, and there's nothing else matters.
Yes.
So that's the therapeutic part, really therapeutic part of the process. And then after that, you can either wet scrape it or put it on the frame for frost scraping. And wet scraping is the process where you put it, we have made a few different kind of situations of like a bucket, you put it in either tote or metal, and then you have your deck, and then you put a wooden beam up, and we've used wood cutting or wood shaving tools too.
Yes.
And then this year, draw knives. And this year, Tanya Larson from Canada, she showed us her bone tool, and then she showed us how to use ash. So the science experiments never stop.
Yes.
And that made it so much easier. And you really feel the spirit of the moose. She was out here working with us, and one was being stubborn, and she was about to use the draw knife, and then she just sharpened her tool, and then the caribou gave away, and it just started scraping for her. It did not want the metal tool on it. We could just tell. So that process is time sensitive because it can get stinky and rotten. But since it's cold out, that helps elongate the time that you're able to work on it. And those have been the best hides. Because also the first hide I worked on, actually, I wet scrape it with the hair on, and it took forever. Such long pulls trying to get all of the hair off, and that was the softest hide all the way through, because constant.
Isn't this is it?
And it smells good.
Yes.
And because of the pressure of the wood and the draw knife, and then it's staying moist the entire time. Mm-hmm. But the draw, or what I love about frost scraping is it's already dark out. It's not even, it just turned 4:00. And when we were out earlier, you're not even cold because you're working, and you can take as long as you want, as long as you're making sure you're taking the snow off, and then you're watching for the climate change issues. The hides get whitened and cleaned with the cold, and you're able to get in the few hours of light, and it's just like resetting your day, because it's so easy to stay inside.
Yes.
And then you get tired and you're like waking up early or staying up late or vice versa. So it really helps ground in this, what can be such a hard time of the year. I'm like, wow, our people just had a great time all year. So that's that's the one major time of, it's like, which one are you going to do? Which one makes the most sense?
Yeah.
And then that transitions into what I say is the challenging of them all, which is the softening. Yes. Yeah, it's the brains.
Oh, the braining. Yes. Sometimes a moose hide softens easy depending on whatever conditions are in play, how you work on it, I guess. How it dies, I think, might even have a factor in it. But sometimes they don't go quick and easy. I have one hide I'm still working on. It's had 7 brains.
Real brains.
Real moose
Not
brains. Not
fake.
even a fake brain and you put the brain on it, you paste it up, put the brain on it, and let it rest and pre-smoke it, and then after a period of time of letting it sit with the brain on, then you put it in water. And the water and the brain mixture also is like a softening agent in itself. Then you take it out and you wring the hide really good. Try to get as much water as you can out. And then you throw it over a beam and use a ulu scraper to squeegee out the water. And you want to get the hide, see if you just go until you're done. You just keep doing it all day. And a hot sunny day is the best thing to work on.
With a little wind.
Yeah, wind also helps. And if the braid penetrated just right, if you got all the water out, it might soften. But I have yet to have one soften the first time. So if it doesn't soften, you'll start feeling little parts get hard, kind of like paper, like a crinkle sound even. It's not going to soften. Just put it back in the brain water. The water, don't throw it away, save it. So put it back, submerge it, let it rest in there. And then again, you could try the next day or wait a couple days and then wring it, soften, scrape. And you just keep doing it over and over until the hide is soft.
Humbling experience.
There are no shortcuts and it is literally your arms get really sore, across your shoulders get really sore.
In the direct sun.
Yeah, in the direct sun, you get super thirsty, so you have to eat while you're standing there scraping or have teams tap you out so you keep going.
Yeah, the Selena hide we worked on, we were able to have a crew the first few times, and
yes,
it's such demanding work. You have to time your breaks. You can't all take a break. Now we have the modern convenience. If you have to, you can have it when it's partially softened and put it in the freezer, but it still risks impacting it, and you might not finish if you take that break. And so when there's been 2 of us, or you and Selena, when you're finishing that, it was just 8 hours nonstop. And she got that hide though, and she's making a beautiful vest, but she had to go to the emergency room, so we're not talking light workout.
Yeah,
we're talking,
it's hard work. She got dehydrated. She had a little bit of touch of heat stroke. Oh, and she had to go to the emergency room to be taken care of. And she was like, my son is working on that hide though. They were yetzing the hard parts so it'll stay soft. So all she could think about was finishing that hide. And really, when she smoked it, to watch her face, to open her first moose hide, the joy, the awe at what she had accomplished, it's just, it's like giving birth, I guess. It's like, wow, this is my baby. This is what I did. Because it took her a year, and she was very grateful to her brother. She was grateful for our help to have the camp so she could learn and reconnect with hides like this. And it was a healing journey for her. And I loved the story she shared with us, and how it's a lot more than what you expect when you first go into it. And you find yourself in hide work, I think, or you find new things about yourself you didn't know, or even your brain connects with something that you heard years and years ago, and it opens up your eyes to what you're doing in the moment. So many rewards.
Yeah, and it's been connecting us to people all throughout the Arctic. You have so many mentors in Canada, and when we brought up fake brain, that's substitutes people have thought of. The popular one we use is
lecithin, sunflower, plant something.
The soap, and that's what people did when there was enough brains. And before this is your third winter of working on
fourth
winter full-time working on hide. My third winter. And people, it's been really awesome because people have been wanting to do hide work, or they haven't been able to, but they've been able to donate. So the relationships we're building with the hunters, and how many brains you got this year, because people know they can save the brain now. And people are excited to repurpose the whole animal as we're supposed to. It's like, it's the basis of our culture. It's our clothes, tools, food, survival. We've gone through so many life experiences while working on hides, really hard losses and moments of celebration, career events, all this. And that's the biggest part with everything happening. Returning to the hides throughout the whole year, it's always taking care of you, and you process motion, everything you're saying, like you're just, the repetitive motions is like the equivalent to our yoga or our therapy, or it's cultural based care. And I want more people to do it out of that place of love, but it is so hard. It's like really hard. You can go to the emergency room.
Yeah. So. I was, my mom passed away, and when she passed away, I just stopped working. I retired from my second job, and it was hide work. You just fall into it full time. You make the decision to do it, and for me, it's been a really good decision. I've had so many people come through the yard wanting to work on hides, learning, and just few that know how to do it fully on their own. But you can do it by yourself too, if you really want to. And I'm glad to help people. People call and ask me, hey, can you look at this? Or am I doing this right? And they'll send me pictures. And don't give up. I mean, keep trying. Roll it up and put it away when it's dry, or, take the meat and the hair off and roll it up and put it in your freezer, or salt it and save it until you're ready to work on it. Or and after a year, donate it to somebody else who will work on it so it doesn't go to waste. But, from the early 90s to now, kind of like in the last 5 years, that's how long it's taken to fall back into it. And it's because I do beadwork, and on my beadwork I like to bead on moose hide. And moose hide, for being a bead artist and knowing what I want my moose hide to feel like, it's easier just to hand it myself and make it instead of trying to find the perfect hide. Because the perfect hide, I mean, for the type of hide I like, it's really expensive. And I'm in competition with everybody else that wants to bead on soft moose hide. So,
Yeah, and then the color you want it.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you're smoking it, adding to that process, you have to get the rotten wood, which is the trees that have fallen over, and then you have to. We've smoked one for 6 hours on one side, and so gentle process. You can't even, like, we worked on ears or like doing small things with our hands, because you just have to sit there. You have to listen. You got to make sure. Because the whole hide can catch on fire.
Yes,
so
sure. You can burn your hide after all that work.
After all that 200 plus hours, the hide can go up in the flames. So you're very attentive to the hide, and then you have, because you sew it shut. Now we want to try clips. That's the Gotta try clips, and then you leave a little hole so you can look in, and you gotta wait till it's the right hide. And you went down to Southeast and you got Rottenwood, and then we had a really golden honey hide. So
oh my God, though.
All caters to how you want it and what you do. So come through. We always need more help. We
always
we're gonna have
need
a
help.
Really big softening summer. So
this summer, come and help soften.
Summer 2026.
If you want a beautiful back, work on moose hides. Makes a difference.
I have a segment for you. I have anti-advice, because you're
anti-advice.
First one, general things you wish you could tell your younger self, or advice for the different eras. So for the young teens, 20s, 30s, however far you want to go.
Oh, if I could tell my younger self as a child, quit asking questions and just listen. The answer will come. I was a chatterbox. And to my teenage self, chasing that boy is just not worth it from the other village, because if he's that good looking, he's got a girlfriend in every village. Let him go.
Still true to this day. Still true.
Oh, yes. Oh. And then to my going to work self, my younger, first going to work. If you love it, stick with it. You don't have to job hop. But I didn't job hop too. I dreamt of other ones. So I loved it and I stuck with it. But if you're not happy, don't grow roots in your job. Be out of there and go.
Nice. Okay, next anti question. Someone who's interested in starting a cultural practice but doesn't know where to begin, what's some advice? So we're also thinking like city kids or grew up somewhere, returning home.
City kids. Okay. If you're a city kid and you're wanting advice and you don't know where to start, I would look for elders. If you're in a school, usually there's a cultural person in that school, either a teacher or a support staff member. But even if you're community-wide, everybody has social media. See what the cultural group you're interested in is doing or have going on, and become a part of it. We used to do a regalia walk at the school where all the students had to create a regalia piece for their culture in the Athabascan way of creation. And then we had a walk where you would take your cultural regalia and do it. So you could make your own regalia so that you can be proud of who you are and where you come from in that way, and people will question you about it. And I'm always here too. I'm willing to help.
And you are a small business owner. K. Hildebrand Earrings. Any advice for being a small business owner and then having your iconic looks? You have one-of-a-kind earrings and jewelry and big pieces.
Oh, yes. Oh, man. What to say about being a small... I'm a horrible small business person because I'm not turning a profit. I know.
Always going somewhere.
Yeah, that's what the tax person says. You're supposed to be making money, but you keep buying more beads. Use all the beads you have if you're a bead artist, first off. Don't build up these stacks and stacks of beads. Use them all before getting new ones. I would advise you to do that. Although having one in every color, it's like, and work on your designs. It's okay to look at other people and to, ask them if you can use their designs, but put your own personal flair on the new designs.
Credit them.
Yeah,
Let
credit
them know.
them.
Don't get
Yes.
messy.
Because once you get a flow, then you'll start trying new things, like with colors, with the way things go together. Like everybody will do 5 or 6 petal flower, or the flowers we have in Alaska are so limited, and everybody will do a rose or forget-me-nots or any of those flowers we commonly have. But jazz it up different, and I try to incorporate as many different mediums into my pieces now. Like my new thing is I do my own moose hide. Yeah, so that's something you could do as an artist. Incorporate porcupine quills with dentalium shells and caribou tufting with the beads, and then make regalia pieces for your family members. There are so many important rites of passages, graduations, weddings, special birthday times, potlatches. You could do special things for those different events. And people over time, the longer you stick with something over time, people will know, oh, that's Kathleen's artwork, or like Michelle, Peter has her own style of artwork. I know Sharon Barker's Atlas artwork. You just learn the designs and the way certain beaders work. Everybody, like Dolores Sloan and the beautiful baby straps. So
and the
beautiful.
Region, you can even just tell by region, like,
Yes.
oh, this is from up Fort Yukon area.
Yeah, the Northway bead artists, also beautiful. So, and the regalia pieces, when you see the dance groups, man.
Fave.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
Last question, as someone
Okay.
who has been so honored to have been mentored by you, what do you have advice for mentoring other people or stepping into your... Well, you're like getting into your legacy role too. You're doing, we talked about it. So, and you've helped so many people. So what has allowed you to do that and so well? So some elders, they're kind of mean. Well, you can be.
I can be mean. Come on,
You're
come
right.
on. I can be
with good
mean.
intentions. Good intentions.
Mean.
Purposefully.
To the point. Yeah, I can be to the point and not hold back sometimes. Don't ask me for my honest opinion, because I'll give it. So that's one thing. But mentoring, I don't even see it as mentoring. Really, I don't use that word. If people want to spend time with you, and it's important to see the people. It's important to be seen and to feel like somebody cares about me, and to help you be your best self, I guess. And I feel like seeing other people succeed, I feel like I'm a part of their life. And for all of my students, from years ago, over 30 years ago, I still feel like they're mine. Like today, the kid who was plowing out blowing snow, he's like, hey, are you Miss Meckel from Denali? I wasn't his teacher, but his sister. It's like, yeah. And to have those kinds of connection, it really brings me joy. And to see the children to former students, I'm thinking I was in a bazaar, the Nakanaga Bazaar, and I started laughing, and then Wendy comes over and says, oh, Ms. Meckel, I heard your laughter, and I had to come and say hi. And it's like, wow. But it's not, that's the way it is today. But when you were younger, I saw you. I saw you at the Doyon meeting, standing up to that microphone as a 6th grade kid, asking questions, and the expressions on your face were so real and genuine. You cared about your future, and you wanted those Doyon board members to see you and hear you. They might not have, but I did. And I had to say something to you then, and you were like, whoa, like, what? And it's like, oh, yeah, well, I just want to know, And then you showed up at Effie, and it was, like, amazing. And to know that you could question adults at that level, I knew something was going to be there. And here you are sitting across questioning me. No.
You know what? I was asking for language programs, and then they did it. How many decades later?
And look at that, the whole foundation doing language programs for their whole region.
Yeah. So many moments over the years, and just thinking about all the stories we told, and there's so many people involved and interacting, and even thinking about your class when I learned who your sister is married to my grandpa's brother. I'm like, we're family anyway. And you're thinking about her and all of that. Well, this was such an amazing conversation per usual. This is what we usually do at the Hides if you want to ever join us. And why it's important to have our culture. I'm petting Maddie. This is your baby. And you were just sewing, but our people are meant to like process and think with our hands busy.
Yes.
And how we have the most. So this is why the conversation was so easy. Our long history together, and then just everything we've done. So that's our people's healthy relationships to others and self, and really encouraging. And then you can have beautiful art pieces. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
I'm just so grateful. Thank you. And I'm grateful just to be able to do what I do. And I hope other people can see, oh, I could do that too. Heck yeah, you can.
Yeah. Woo! Anubasi for tuning in to this episode of Giaga. We have had an amazing conversation today. We started outside, getting to work on the hides, and we were able to see Kathleen's beautiful art, hear so many different stories over her life, and it was such a privilege to be able to share this with you, and hope to see some of you at the Hide.